Hey guys, Globster42. I hope this finds everyone well. Okay, a couple updates. This is kind of going to be a double post. We're going to be putting it on both my T10 M as well as my That 70s group build, covering painting. Now both these tanks have been primed. I've been actually getting some questions on my primers. To me, a primer is a base coat that is something that you should be able to sand, manipulate, fix. Basically, you want a primer to show the flaws in your build. So to that end, I've pretty much gone to two basic primers. I've covered this slightly before, but my number one primer right now is the Duplicolor Primer Sealer for something like this. And for something like this barrel on this Leopold Leopard one, which was a little rough, I used this one, which is the filler primer, which is a little bit thicker, a little bit higher build, and it will fill the micro scratches, and it will help that way. Primarily for automotive and aircraft, for the primer filler, and primer sealer is armor and figures. So once we've got the primer coat on, where do we go from there? Do I just start spraying color? No, generally I don't start spraying color yet. I'll add another color to this, and that's going to be black. Now the reason I use a black undercoat is that it covers your butt in shadow areas if you miss it. If you miss your paint, it gives the paint a little bit richer, deeper color. And like I said, the big thing is, especially in running gear and tracks and all that, it's going to get in all the crevices and that, and it's give you a nice, rich, deep shadow, which you may not get with just a conventional coat of paint. Now, if you want, go ahead, throw color on these, and away you go. But there's a couple different ways you can go. You could use something like this Krylon flat black. It's okay. I generally don't like working with enamels past the primer stage, but if you want to do that, that's the same with the Army Painter, which is about $10 or $12 more than a can of the Krylon. That's more, not different price. That's a different price. And then you're back to working with enamels again. It stinks, and yeah, and you don't have the control. So if we're going to be using an airbrush, there's two basic styles that I use. Is the Vallejo Surface Primer. Now that name is basically a bit of a canard. That's a real misleading statement. Their surface primer. I've made another video about how much I despise this as a primer. It's not a primer, because as I said, a primer is something that should show flaws and sand out and feather out. This stuff you can't sand. At least I've not had any luck in the 5 or 6 years I've been using these. Never had any luck with this as a primer. It's a great base coat. Think of the Vallejo air quote surface primer as a base coat. Use an enamel high build as a primer that you want to sand and work with. This stuff goes over the primer, regardless of what they say. You know, if you're using it and you can sand it out and you can feather the edges and all that, good for you. Don't try and convince me otherwise, because I've had nothing but fails with this when I put a piece of sandpaper to it, regardless of months, weeks, years even of letting it cure. So think of this as a base coat, pre-shade if you want to call it, or a nice black finish. I also use the Tamiya XF69 NATO Black, which is a really nice base color, but with Tamiya paints, make sure you use their thinner for it. And thin it down really well. Thin it down to where you think it's good, and then thin it down a little bit more. Because if you don't thin this stuff down, you will get a rough sandpapery finish. So a little thinner than normal, and give yourselves a good coat of paint on these. So anyway, we're going to go down. We're going to throw some black color on these two tanks. I will be using the surface primer on the T10M and the NATO Black on the Leopard, because that will end up as being a part of the paint scheme once this is ready to go. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Later. Alright, this big ugly bugger's in paint, the Meng T10M. It's a nice kit. I'm getting over myself of some of the little problems I had with it. Still, it builds up to be a pretty damn impressive model. So, as you can see, I put some battle damage on it. And you're still like, whoa, dude, that's like pretty sharp. That's pretty shiny, man. Shouldn't you rust it down? Nope. Because in the context of where this diorama is, this just happened. All this just happened. So if these are anything like the Soviet vehicles I've seen in museums, everything is aluminum. All their fenders, all their toolboxes, everything is aluminum. And when you shoot aluminum that's been painted, big chunks of paint flake off and it's pretty bright underneath. So we've done that. So we're showing some, you know, some 50 and some 30 cal bullet splash on here. When you see the diorama, it'll all come together. It's not a lot of battle damage, and it's not going to be a lot of weathering either. We're not going to see a lot of paint distress on this. The whole idea of it is that it has just rolled out of the East German tank silos, and it's heading west. So there's going to be a little bit of schmeg and stuff, grease and oil and back stains where all these jerry cans are, and the fuel drums. So what we've got here is, you've seen that I primed it with the Duplicolor, and then I kind of lost focus of recording, which that happens once in a while with me when I'm doing build. That's why I don't do a lot of in-build builds, because I'll get going at 2 o'clock in the morning and, oh, I should have been taping that for the last 2 hours. So what we've got here, I showed you the color I used earlier. It's the Vallejo air quotes black primer, which I just used as the pre-shading underneath. It dried overnight, and then we shot the Vallejo forest green over top of that, which is a nice deep rich green. It's very, very nice, and you can see it's pretty. I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but it's pretty damn shiny right now. What I did was I gave it several coats of Tamiya Clear. I really like Tamiya Clear. It's probably my favorite clear coat. Goes on nice and smooth, sprays good. Thin it right back by about 50%. Put on multiple light coats, you're going to get a shine that's a mile deep. The decals from Meng are pretty damn nice. You can't see any carrier film anywhere. I used Mr. Mark Softer, but that didn't really seem to snuggle them down. So I broke into my last 1/8 of an ounce of Super Sol, which I can't find anymore. Guys, if anybody knows a shop that has Super Sol, let me know. Pick it up for me. Get me a bottle. Give me a PM. We'll sort it out. We'll get it shipped over. I'll pay everything, shipping, the cost of the Super Sol, everything. I need it. It's the best damn salt decal solution I've ever used, and I just can't find it. I can't even find it online. So whether it's out of production again, like my Ambroid Pro Weld, or what's going on, I don't know. So what we've done, we've started doing some flecking, some spritzing, some dust stain effects on the back of here, which is just basically I've used this wash, which I've watered down a bit, and a nice thick fat brush, and just flicked it on like that. Give yourself a nice flick. Do it very thin, and do multiple coats, build it up. It may take you a week to get your weathering done, but don't rush your weathering, because if you do, you gotta have weathering needs to be layered up. We're not distressing paint, but environmental weathering, mud, dirt, water splashes, and all that kind of good stuff. Alright guys, enough of this. I'm going to go back. I'm going to start adding a little bit more washes to it. It's simple, basic stuff, guys. You know, everybody's got a wash video. Check out my panel lines video. I've done that. I had one fellow ask me where I'm getting my Tamiya panel line accent colors from. My local hobby shop's got a ton of them. Mind you, of course, for me, a local hobby shop is 2 hours away. That's local for us. That's 2 hours one way. So for a round trip, they've got tons. Last time I was up there, they had the black, the brown, and the gray. So I guess go online, find it there. Hobby Link Japan, maybe. If you can't find it in local shops, I guess there's always overseas. So anyway, guys, enough on this. I'm going to get on this. I've got a couple more builds going. I've got my That 70s build to go. I'm working on a diorama. I've got 2 dioramas on the go. Work is dead slow, so I said, to hell with it. I'm going to just build models until I go to work. Alright guys, later. Hey guys, Glockster 42. It's finally done. My Meng T10M is complete. And she's ready to go in a diorama. Just a few things I'll do. I've got to highlight the tracks, put some silver on the front of the tracks. And that's it. She's done. All done. Done. So as you can see, we added some battle damage there. A glancing blow from a 75mm Sherman tank. You know, some shot up front glacis plate from maybe a 50 or some 30s. Some 50 cal and maybe some just 30 cal rifle dings in the hull. And then another big whomp. Oop. Come on, focus, you bugger. There we are. Another big wonk there with the another splash of maybe 105 or something bounced off the turret. It'll all make a lot more sense once we get it into the diorama that it's going. So overall, it wasn't a great kit. It wasn't a shitty kit. It was kind of a meh. It was a Meng kit. It was meh. You know, nothing special. I didn't finish it going like, ooh, what a great kit, man. It's like, yeah, you know, if you find it on sale, build it. If you don't, you're not missing out. Honestly, you're not missing out on anything if you don't build this kit, guys. It's like I say, it's not a bad kit. It's not a great kit. It's just a kit. It's a cool subject matter, though. So we finished it off in Vallejo colors. A little bit of pigments, added some oil stains at the back, and then we did some flicking and some whipping around and flicking on that just to make it look a little better. Let's see, it's still a little bit, the pigment might even be still a little bit damp, but I didn't want to do a whole bunch of paint distress because I wanted it to look like it's just rolled out. So there you have it, guys, the Meng T10M. Final build results, what would I give it out of 5? 2.5. Yeah, 2.5. That's it. It looks okay when it's finished up, but, you know, there's the journey of getting there. Was it a fun journey getting there? No, not really. Not really. So, anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Glockster 42, out.